for joining me on this chilly Monday evening around the country. Today, I will be making the long-awaited Dream Class video. This is a video highly requested. Should be good. Going quarterback through safety, the whole 9 yards. Going to talk offense, defense, and everything in between. Starting at the quarterback position, I have to talk about none other than Dante Moore. Dante Moore, for you guys wondering, is from Detroit, Michigan, Martin Luther King High School. Absolute stud. Composite 5-star according to 247 Sports. Has all the traits that you want at that next level. Some people want Nico Imaliva from Warren High School in Downey, California. I think Dante Moore is just simply better. Some people want Jackson Arnold, Christopher Messina. Those guys are ballers. Those guys are gamers. Whatever figurative language you want to use and metaphors you want to use to describe those guys, they live up to that. But Dante Moore is a guy who I think can just get you to the next level. And that's why Dante Moore is my quarterback. Running back, God, this is tough. You already had Cedric Irvin committed. This is a dream class, so of course you have to stretch the truth just a little bit, but I'm going to go Justice Haynes. This is a guy whose father played ball at Georgia. He has an unofficial top 3, I guess you could call it, of Ohio State, Georgia, and Notre Dame. Visited for the USC game and once over the summer as well. He's a flat-out stud. Plays some really good competition there in Georgia, in the area. And he's put some pretty crazy stats. Really, really like his game. Next at wide receiver, this is a make-or-break year. I'm going to be honest for Notre Dame. I cannot stress that enough, how important it is to land some freaks at the wide receiver position. And, of course, you have to start with Carnell Tate from IMG Academy. He is probably the biggest target on offense or defense for the Irish, and I think he does actually end up in South Bend. Next, I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown. He's in the center of the thumbnail. Jaylen Brown, 5-star composite wide receiver from Glover Prep, his teammates with RB commit Cedric Irvin. Has some speed, has some killer speed, and I'm really, really high on Jaylen Brown. And then third, I honestly think they might take 4, so I'll just do 4. Third, Kyler Casper from Gilbert, Arizona. His father played in the league. His father was an Iowa Hawkeye, though. I think the Hawkeyes will actually end up with his commitment. But there's a long way to go. He has some affinity for Notre Dame, and we'll see how much Tommy Alexander can work on that one. And then if I had to pick a fourth guy, I'm going with Malik Elzy from Simeon Career Academy in Chicago. Powerhouse basketball school, but Malik Elzy, composite 4-star, really like his game. He'd be a nice slot guy. Truman Dumel, can we get Malik Muhammad? Yes, we can. I honestly think Truman that Notre Dame leads for Malik Muhammad, if not is in second or third to Texas and Texas A&M respectively. A lot of people are worried. Why is he not getting on campus? He was scheduled to visit campus 3 times in the month of October, which is pretty wild. I don't think anyone thought he would actually make it in for all 3 times living in Texas. It's not the easiest commute. But that reason was he was just so focused on winning a state championship, which he did on Saturday. First time in school history. The name of the school, South Cliff, something in South Dallas, Texas. But yeah, him and his team won for the first time in school history. That's why he didn't come, but Notre Dame is still second or third, if not first in that recruitment, to answer that question. And then tight end, I think they're locked up with Cooper Flanagan. Mac Markwoy decommitted from the University of Florida just last night. I think he ends up at South Carolina, maybe Iowa. I don't think he's going to end up at Notre Dame. His junior film was good, but not as good as Cooper Flanagan. Along the offensive line, you just took 10 guys in the past 2 cycles, and you don't really need bodies. You don't need volume, but you need that elite talent, of course, every cycle, because every cycle you need to replenish. So Chase Basantis is one name to know. I think he's going to start – his process will start to pick up. You'll hear his name more. He's been taking it pretty slowly. Don Bosco Prep in New Jersey, right near Steve Angeli's Bergen Catholic and Jaden Bellamy. I think he'll make it out to Notre Dame for an official this spring, along with probably Penn State, Ohio State, maybe Rutgers, a few others. I could see him going down to an SEC or Pac-12 school as well for an official visit. Too early to tell, but I think Notre Dame is looking decent there. I think they're probably in the top 3 or 4. And then Kobe Keenum is a name to know from Alabama. Sullivan Abshar from North Carolina. They will definitely offer some more guys once the new coach comes in, as I do not expect Jeff Quinn returns. But yeah, Trevor Locke, a guy who has not been offered, but I could see him ending up in the class. I wouldn't necessarily call it a dream class with him. I'm just throwing out names right now, but dream class, I'd say Pasontis, and then give me Caden Proctor, even though I think he stays home and plays for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Another question, how good is Cooper Flanagan's NFL comparable? So let me think of a quick comparable. He's a blocker. Cooper Flanagan plays on a triple option team, De La Salle in San Francisco, California. So I'm trying to think of just a very, very solid blocking tight end for you. Like not an H-back, but someone that can also catch the ball. It's a good question. I don't know. Tommy Tremble, maybe. I don't know if he plays with that same nastiness that Tremble played with in South Bend and is currently playing with in the Panthers. But Tremble's got at least one touchdown pass this year, and was a stud at ND. It was a 3rd-round pick. So I guess Tommy Tremble is that comparison. To the defensive line, they already have 2 guys committed. Vernon, I think, is locked up. He'd sign today if he could. Keeley, not so much. I think they land Keeley, but I'm not going to say they're locked up to land Keeley. Samuel Mpemba, Jason Moore are probably 2 other guys to really look out for if we're talking dream class. If you could land a 4-man class of Vernon, Keeley, Mpemba, and Moore, that would be the best defensive line class in the country, regardless of who Bama, Texas A&M, and all those Georgia, who they're getting. That would be one hell of a class. Linebacker, guys, I might be wrong, but I think they might just stick with 1. I think they might just take Drake Bowen. Now, taking 1 linebacker is very rare. They took 2 in 2021, Kahani Key and Prince Collie, so they might end up with another one. They'll see who impresses them. Phil Piccolotti from Pennsylvania is maybe another guy. Tamir Robinson, he just had a pretty big injury, though. But right now, I think they just stick with Drake Bowen. Drake Bowen's locked in, by the way, for anyone curious. Corner, Truman Asfalt, Malik Muhammad. Of course, Malik Muhammad's in there. Justin Rhett, put him in there. He just committed. He's a freak, top 50 player according to Rivals. Micah Tease can play corner and safety, kind of an athlete. Wide receiver as well from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I think ND leads there, but Oklahoma's a very serious contender. Ryan Yates, wouldn't really call him a top target at this time, though. I was watching the Austin Westlake Denton Geyer high school state championship game, and I'll be completely honest, Ryan Yates just did not play very well. He was burned multiple times. If he would have played better, they probably would have won that game. So Ryan Yates, I'm honestly not sure if ND continues to really talk to him after that, because I just don't know if he's at ND's level where they're recruiting the secondary at right now, but he's definitely got to know. And then that's probably it for corner. I'm trying to think if there are any other names. AJ Harris, no, that's not going to happen. He's going to commit in just a little under a month now, January 11th. I'd probably like Bama or North Carolina for him. Safety, sheesh. Peyton Bowen, I think, is a guy definitely to know. And then Don Schuler, of course, he's committed. I think they stick to 2. I think they take 3 corners, 2 safeties. You lose Devin Moore. They only have Ben Morrison. Ben Morrison, Jaden Bellamy, Jaden Micchio. The only 3 DBs in this class. I don't think they take anyone else. They might take a grad transfer from the portal, but I think they take 5 DBs. And let's give me Schuler, Rhett, Muhammad, Bowen, and Tease. I'll go with those 5. Then Christian Gray. I think he ends up in this class too, and I'm not even having him in here. So pretty wild. Very talented player as well. Chances we land all 3 Denton players. Very real, Coleman. Fabulous question. Like I just said, I don't know if Ryan Yates is a take. I know he's a good player. I don't know what happened in that Austin Westlake game. Seems like a great kid as well, great guy. But yeah, Ryan Yates, not sure if he's a take. Peyton Bowen is absolutely a take. And then Jackson Arnold, I think, is a take as well. Jackson Arnold reminds me a ton of Ian Book. And for all the Notre Dame fans that say, I don't want Ian Book, I would absolutely take another Ian Book. And I think Arnold's a better passer I think he will be a better passer than Book, and he's maybe even just as mobile. I don't know. Ian Book is pretty damn mobile, but yeah, I think they land two. I think they land Arnold, and I think they land Bowen. I think Bowen is. If I could put in a crystal ball pick for him, I would. Arnold, I wouldn't, but that could change. I really hope Indy takes two quarterbacks in this 2023 cycle. I'd love a combo of Vecina, Moore, and Arnold in whatever fashion that could be. I'm gonna leave it too. How difficult is it for a kid who signs the college team to unsign? Yeah, so the only option is the transfer portal. Xavier Worthy, four-star wide receiver from Fresno, California, was committed to Michigan. It went down to Alabama and Michigan. He signed with Michigan last December, but he ended up transferring back early last summer to Texas, where Sark went to be the head coach. Sark recruited him at Bama. So you have to go through the portal. He was immediate, though, because of COVID, and the NCAA, of course, felt bad for this kid. He was actually scheduled to early enrollee at Michigan. That did not happen because of some grade. Michigan doesn't have nearly the same grade requirements that Notre Dame does, but they do. I guess he didn't take a class or something got screwed up in the transcripts. And so he pretty much just sat home all throughout the spring. They had a dorm room ready and all this stuff for him, and he just never could come. And so he ended up having to go to Texas, and he's had one hell of a freshman year. So honestly, didn't do him that bad, but God, that'd be scary if he went to Michigan. They would be one. That's just one more piece to this already very good, fantastic Michigan Wolverine team this year. We love the freakish athlete Drake Bowen, primetime Bo Jackson. Yeah, Drake Bowen posts some freak lifting videos in his garage on Twitter every so often. That dude is absolutely yoked. Baseball stud as well. I know he's in baseball training right now. I think he's training for baseball throughout the winter and then spring when the baseball high school season is, and then summer is football and baseball as well, and then fall is all football. I like that he's playing two sports. I also like when anybody does any two sports. I will say this is a little bit of a nugget. Eli Reardon is a two-sport athlete for his high school in Iowa. He just tore his ACL. So that sucks. That really, really sucks. Because, hey, I mean, Eli Reardon is one of the best tight ends in the country, if not the best. And he just tore his ACL. So that's going to hurt his ranking. I wanted to get that out there somewhere in this video because I just heard about it. But, yeah, playing two sports in high school is phenomenal, and his athleticism is real. It's real. Have you heard anything new about the 2022 wide receiver situation when it comes to recruiting? So Stephon Johnson is a guy, there's been some Twitter activity and just some small stuff like that. It's from DeSoto, Texas, composite 3-star. Oregon commit, but did not sign during the early signing period. If you can get him on campus, or if he wants to get on campus for an official visit, I think that would be extremely telling, but don't think that's been set up yet or that will happen. It's currently a dead period, but I think once these bowl games finish, the dead period ends, so they can have guys on campus. If not Stephon Johnson, I think they had the grad transfer out and land just a grad transfer wide receiver, whoever pops up. There will definitely be some more guys entering the portal after the bowl games finish, and a lot of the bowl games kind of start tonight and throughout the week and up until New Year's and New Year's Day. So you'll see a lot of new names hitting the portal after that. But yeah, that's all I got on 2022 wide receiver recruiting. I really hope they take 4 guys in 2023 because you need bodies. Best case scenario, I think the number is 8 possible scholarship wide receivers. Let me run through it quickly. Wilkins, Lindsey, Kevin Austin, Avery Davis, Merriweather, Colsey Thomas, and then Lorenzo Styles. So that'd be 8. Wow. Jafar Armstrong, yeah. He's back in the portal. I don't think Notre Dame's going to do anything there. Played, I think, 1 or 2 games for Illinois, and that just didn't work out, whatever happened there. So, yeah. Oh, sorry. One more question, Truman. Is there a sleeper commit or prospect we should seriously think about coveting? 2023 class, that's a really good question. Is there a guy that I'm really, really high on that a lot of people aren't? Really good question. Well, Vecina, Christopher Vecina, I mean, he's not a sleeper. He's a 4-star, but people in the Notre Dame community tend to have him 4th or 5th in the totem pole. Some people So there are 5 main quarterbacks in the 2023 class. Avery Johnson from Kansas. I don't think that's going to happen. And then the main guys, Nicholas Imaliva from California, 5-star. Dante Moore, 5-star from Michigan. Jackson Arnold, 4-star from Denton Guyer in Texas. And then Christopher Vecina. Christopher Vecina is a 6'4", 220-pound quarterback from Alabama, goes to a private Catholic school there, has offers from Clemson. Clemson has offered 2 quarterbacks, Arch Manning and him. They don't give out many offers, and he's one of them. Bama's really looking at him if they don't land Archer, Nicholas Imaliva. Those are their top 2 guys. So, God, Christopher Vecina, in my opinion, is a top 50 or 60 player, and he's, I think, possibly in the 130s or 140s, according to 247. So, Christopher Vecina, in my opinion, is a top 6 or 7 quarterback in the whole cycle, and he's not ranked that. So that is somebody I hope Notre Dame lands. Notre Dame has a fabulous problem on their hands with all these 4 guys. Because, wow, if you could land 2 of those guys, you're set up for the next few years. So, yeah, and then 2022 class, the biggest sleeper. I had Eli Rarid on there for a while, but now he's kind of blown up. He's a top 70 guy according to 247, so not really him anymore. But I've heard a lot of rave reviews about Jaden Bellamy. That dude plays with some grit. Aiden Gobiara, same thing. But Donovan Heinisch, this is a guy that people don't talk nearly enough about. He is more developed, stronger, more athletic than his big brother, Kurt. And Kurt has started 3 years for us. Kurt is going to be on an NFL roster next year, I believe, will be drafted, and it's been one hell of a nose tackle for the Fighting Irish. And people are like, oh, his little brother, whatever. I understand the flash appeal to new names and whatnot, but the blue-collar grind that the Heinisch family presents is just, I love it. Kurt Heinisch is one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player in this class. And his little brother Donovan has the potential to be better than him. So I think Donovan Heinisch 2022. Last question, who do you think who we will land at 2023 with Quinn leaving? So, offensive line coach, Harry Highstead is a name to know, former Notre Dame offensive line coach. Just recruiting-wise, a lot of people think Notre Dame offensive line, the offensive line recruits itself. I actually partially agree with that. Highstead landed some good guys. McGlinchey, Quentin Nelson, and he didn't even do that much. He didn't love recruiting. Tommy Rees recruits the offensive line. Well, he pretty much got Billy Scrouth to Notre Dame, I'll be completely honest. If Tommy Rees left, Billy's ending up at Wisconsin. He played some big – he was big in Ty Chan. Ashton Craigenton, I think, would have landed at Notre Dame regardless of who was on the offensive side, who was the offensive coordinator. And then Emil Wagner, I think he chose Notre Dame for Notre Dame. But offensive line coach, him, and then Justin Fry, who's from Indiana, actually. He's the UCLA offensive line coach. In my personal opinion, I'd rather Harry Highstead come back. I just think he develops offensive linemen better than literally any college coach in the country. Develop McClinchy, Nelson, Ronnie Stanley. He just does it at another level. The NFL didn't work out for him, took a few years off, but Harry Highstead, I would be thrilled if he was the next offensive line coach. But actual targets, and guys, leave more questions. I honestly got nothing to do tonight, so drop some questions if you have them. I'll keep going. But offensive line targets, Trevor Locke is a kid who I just think will end up in this class. He doesn't have an offer, but Ohio State, Michigan, all these Midwest schools have offered him. He loves Notre Dame. I went to campus for a game, and I saw him with a huge smile on his face. So I think he somehow ends up in this class. Chase Pastontis would be great from Don Bosco Prep in New Jersey. Caden Proctor would be phenomenal. I think he's a future first or second round pick. Has the size and the athleticism. Is a star basketball player for Southeast Polk, where Xavier Nwankpa goes as well. Kobe Keenum, Sullivan Abshar, Bison Lang, maybe, who was offered, I believe, the North Carolina weekend. He came from Alabama. But yeah, who cares? Arch Manning, our recruiting team will win. I don't know. Landing Arch Manning would be awesome if that's your question. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think he wants to stay down south. I honestly hope he ends up at Ole Miss. That'd be sick to see him end up at Ole Miss. I don't want him to go to Bama or Clemson or Georgia or one of those schools. I hope he ends up at Ole Miss. Seeing him at Texas, too, would be kind of cool. But, yeah, I hope he ends up at Ole Miss. That'd be funny. Hopefully Justin Fry's the next O-line coach. He very well could be. would not shock me in the slightest. He really wants the job. He wanted it when Harry Heisted left a few years ago when they hired Jeff Quinn. He really wanted it, and he said no. And UCLA, I mean, great job, great program, California, whatnot. But he's from Indiana. I'm assuming he has a lot of affinity for Notre Dame if he wants the job this much. I bet his family still lives around here. Notre Dame will probably pay more than UCLA will, quite frankly. So yeah. You ever thought about also covering ND basketball recruiting? Great question, Coleman. Not really. Of course, I know when people commit and whatnot. JJ Starling is a dude who I was super hyped about when he committed. But to be completely honest, my mom went to Villanova. I'm just in high school, guys, so I'm just doing this kind of for fun. But yeah, I still live at home, whatever. Villanova is my team. And so for basketball, I'm a Villanova guy. But for football, I'm all ND. And so, yeah, I'm actually a Villanova fan for basketball. I have done a few videos in the past, and then I actually kind of share this account with my buddy who's a Michigan fan. So he's actually going to pump out a few Michigan videos here this week. We've just been busy with schoolwork and whatnot as high schoolers like us have with finals and stuff. But yeah, no, I'm sorry, Coleman. I don't think I'll end up making any ND basketball recruiting videos, but maybe at some point. NFL comparison for Audric Estime and Logan Diggs. Diggs, Le'Veon Bell. I am just the biggest Logan Diggs fan out there. His patience, his awareness, just how he attacks holes and creates opportunities for himself. I love his mantra as well. I just love the type of player he is. From Louisiana, I just love everything about Logan Diggs. I'm so high on him. Honestly, Le'Veon Bell. Will he be as good? Probably not, but he plays like him. And then give me Armstrong or Moore at quarterback for the 2023 class. Can't go wrong with either. What do you mean by Armstrong, Jay? Dante Moore, of course, I understand. Maybe you mean Moore. Or you're somewhere. Never mind. Audric Najee Harris. Yeah, I could see that. The thing with Audric, though, in his high school film, didn't catch the ball a ton. Was more of just a downhill runner. Has that speed for sure. He's freakishly fast for his size. I mean, he showed that against Georgia Tech. But, yeah, Najee Harris is just so good coming out of the backfield, catching screens. I believe in one of his earlier games this season, he had 19 targets or something. Like, Audric will never have that in a season maybe. He reminds me of Derrick Henry, too. So I could see that. I could see that for sure, but I don't know if he'll ever get that volume out of the backfield. That's why I like Logan Diggs so much, because he can catch the ball, create in space. Kyron is phenomenal at that. Chris Tyree. It's going to be interesting what happens next year with 3, I think, all D1 starting running backs. Maybe not Estime at some big Power 5 schools, but Diggs and Tyree for sure. Diggs came on a lot faster than people would have expected. Diggs just looked phenomenal. I'm not worried in the slightest. I saw Kyron was going to declare. That didn't shock me. But when I saw he was going to skip the bowl game, I was like, huh? But at the same time, I'm like, good for Diggs. Gets more opportunity. Tyree, too. I feel bad for Tyree. He got hurt. Diggs kind of took some of his minutes. There's still 2 phenomenal running backs and 2 guys that I think will end up playing in the league one day. I honestly think Diggs could be the best running back at Kyron, Tyree, Estime, and himself. I mean, we'll see. But he's just, I don't know. There's something about his game that as a true freshman, Kyron didn't show. Now, Kyron had one hell of a sophomore season last year. He put the country on notice, and I think he's a day 2 or early day 3 pick. But and maybe this is just because Diggs is a freshman, but I just see something special in Diggs. I'll be completely honest. Something really, really special. How do you think we go about wide receiver recruiting in 2022? Send out more offers, go to the transfer portal. So if you don't land Stephon Johnson from Texas, the current Oregon commit who Andy's talking to, I say you go to the portal. But if there's nobody good enough, I hate just taking bodies for bodies. Other than Johnson, I really don't see any other unsigned wide receiver in the country that we have a shot at that's worth it. I was looking through the names, whatever. I don't know. Just don't take bodies for bodies. You'll be fine. You're not going to have as many injuries as you did this year, or transfers and stuff like that. But yeah, and then thoughts on Slovis. So this was really intriguing because I am Team Slovis. I'm a part of some of the message boards. I actually, if you're on blueandgold.com, I was the person that said I made a Keaton Slovis post on Thursday. By the way, if anyone's watching this, subscribe to blueandgold.com. Just some phenomenal insight over there. Mike Singer is an absolute beast. Shout out Mike Singer. But yeah, I started a thread on Keaton Slovis saying I think we should get him, give Buckner another year. It was mixed. Some people want him, some people didn't. I think he's going to end up at Pitt. His girlfriend is a soccer player there, I think, maybe volleyball. So I think he's going to go to Pitt. The Kenny Pickett success, immediate opportunity. And also the thing with ND is Slovis wants to go somewhere for 2 years. He was on the Trojan Talk podcast, which is the Rivals USC affiliate, and he said, I'm going there for 2 years. And so if you're in Notre Dame, do you really want Buckner to sit there for 2 more years? I don't think he'd like that. I think he'd honestly transfer. 1 year I could see Buckner staying, and I think Buckner would stay, but 2 years, that's a lot. Amar Cooper, Indiana commit. Yeah, so Amar Cooper didn't sign initially on Wednesday. He didn't sign on Thursday, but I believe Friday afternoon he did sign on the dotted line to go to Indiana. His teammate in high school is going to start next year at Indiana, Donovan McCulley, dual threat quarterback. So you want to be with their quarterback. He's from Indianapolis, and Bloomington's not that far. Whatever. He's been locked in for a while. I wish Notre Dame went after him sooner, but he needed to put on some weight. I wasn't sure. I don't know. I like Amar Cooper. I think he's better than Stephon Johnson, but that's not going to work out. How elite is Aiden Gobiara? Gobiara, wow. When you think of a kid from Northern Virginia, like a white kid from Northern Virginia that plays defensive end, you don't think nothing crazy. But Aiden Gobiara, holy mackerel. His motor might be better than any single defensive lineman in the country. He doesn't play on the best team, doesn't play against the best competition, but he just finds a way to get to the quarterback every single play. There's no off play for him. His conditioning is so elite. I just love how he plays, and it's going to be hard for Mike Elston and whoever the defensive coordinator is to keep him off the field because he just plays with such intensity, and he makes his teammates better too. Really, really good guy. I'm excited. He's going to have a big future. Wouldn't go as far to say he's a top 3, 4, 5 player in the class, but he's without a doubt a top 7 or 8 player in the class, and he's a huge pickup. So I'm really glad he ended up in this class. But yeah, please no Slovis. He can't stay healthy. TB, I think Slovis is ending up at Pitt, so TB will be the guy, and then whoever they get in 2023, I think will be the next guy in the line. But hey, Slovis had a phenomenal 2019 year, looked good in 2020, 2021, had some injuries, the Jackson Dart situation, they were switching in quarterbacks. Don't sleep on Slovis, but I can see why a lot of fans want Buckner. I love what they did with Jack Cohen, bringing him in for a year and mixing in Buckner, but it's hard. If you're Buckner and they're bringing another transfer, that has to be tough. So we'll see, and you also have to remember Drew Pine as well. So Tommy Reese has a lot on his plate. I don't think they're going to end up with Slovis if you're curious. And his shoulder injury too, yeah. I forgot about that. So we'll see. But when I watch his highlights, that dude's elite. With an offensive line, he can make up every throw in the book. But he's also a USC guy, and Notre Dame fans don't like USC guys. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I love these question and answer stuff. We'll do them more. But I hope everyone has a good night, and that's it for me.